yeah, the background information. I mean, we're mainly focusing on the equip. So this is like an old Mihile you're coming back to.
Yeah, this is this Mihile was like I hopped back into MapleStory around the second half of the Neo event,
Mm-hmm.
and this character's like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm. I see, I see. It's got some funky stuff. Some funky stuff. So what are you doing? Like, how much are you playing? How far do you plan on going? Or are you just trying to get some general direction or a specific goal in mind?
I plan on going pretty far. Like I plan on actually getting this character up
Okay.
probably 275 by next year.
Okay.
So a decent amount of hours to be put into this character.
Mm-hmm.
I've already started running Lucid and stuff for the arcane weapon. That shit's not dropping.
Wait, what level is it
hopefully one of
now?
these days. My Mihile, I've got a couple levels on him. He's 238 now.
Okay.
It was 236 when I sent it to you, and some of the flames on the gear have been improved, but
Okay.
like not like substantially.
Okay, okay. Is like a... No. Oh yeah, and the Abso... Yeah, so... Okay, okay. And so you're like... So it runs with your guild, or...?
Runs with my guild, or I'll just smega like who wants to run.
Mm-hmm. Were you going for hard
type of thing.
lucid?
Yeah, hard lucid, and or normal. Doesn't matter, whatever I can get that week.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever will take me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, if you that you're like super weak, but if people are gonna run hard lucid, then they're probably gonna need some convincing to let you in there if it's a random party, right?
Yeah, it's either that or guild or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
I've past few my friend ran me through hard, but I definitely want to be able to be at a level where I can actually contribute to the group
Yeah,
and
for
put
sure.
in some work.
Okay.
I don't have too much saved. I have about 2 bill saved right now.
Mm-hmm. And what's
Not that
what's your income looking like? Just like Ursus and
I do
Maple
Ursus
Tour?
every single day. I do 7 Maple Tours every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and I will grind. I won't like grind every day, but I'll pop a totem like every other day, and I'll grind with my Legion bonuses, and yeah, like the Legion Mesa bonuses, wealth potions if I get them.
Yeah, so you're like maxing out on totems, pretty much. If you won every other day, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Yeah, and obviously the dream is to like just slide right on into Arcane, but of course that's probably gonna be a little bit harder than just mentioning that you would like one. That's how it always ends up being. So what's your situation like droplet wise, and do you have like a separate Kana as well that you do anything on, or?
I do not have a separate Kana, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
I still have yet to get my Kana to 200. I've been lazy on that one. My Legion's not bad at all. It's 6,590.
Okay.
So I just want to get that to like 8K.
Mm-hmm.
But what's it called? See, I definitely need more drop gear. I know my Dominator pennant does have drop percent on it, 20% drop. But I just lack a lot more pieces to have to like get drop rate on to farm for more droplets. And also my inner abilities are pretty trash, but I'm not re-rolling those until the event comes where they're half off. Then I hope to get boss damage line on the legendary, and then the rest is Meso and drop.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna try? Well, for boss, yeah. Well, you're gonna be damage dealer eventually, but you're more gonna be a bit of a support early on, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going based off what everyone says the BIS is. Like when I looked up for like the BIS inner abilities for Mihile, because we don't really have to worry about the attack speed. We already max out. We
Yep.
already hit attack speed cap with decent speed infusion and green pot.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, everyone just says get 20% boss for the top line. So I was like, all right, I'll get 20% boss.
Mm-hmm.
I trust the people that put in like a lot of work to figure it out.
Yeah, are you like specifically communicating with Mihails on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then that's fine. They'll know well enough, yeah. Yeah, some classes need certain lines, some classes is just like useful to have certain lines, right? Like for example, this is my inner ability. I don't know if you can see it because the screen's a little bit small. But like this is what I've been holding on to forever. If you're in a situation where you don't need the attack speed, then I think this is something like this is like ideal because I mean, what's the game gonna do to you, right? Like you can kill anything, you can be part of the parties, you're good.
Oh yeah.
And then like later endgame, if you want to min max on it, then you can be like, okay, I'm just gonna redo the whole thing. You know, like it's whatever. I could keep the 21 attack, but I'd probably just re-roll the whole thing. And now I've got so much honor saved up as well. Like it's even getting expired, right?
It looks capped, yeah.
Yeah, that's capped, so I can't even use any. But that's like a different setup, of course. If you're wanting to get to 20 boss, I think you'd be fine too. Getting like I think what would be ideal. What I think is getting like if you can get a unique line of drop or mezzo on the second or third line, and then roll whatever you didn't get on the top line. But then that would be forfeiting the boss damage, of course.
Yeah, which would probably be better early on, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I would be thinking. That eventually, you want to redo the whole thing. Well, then you're probably gonna, aim more for the boss, aim more for the like extra % damage to debuff, stuff like that. And then if you do get some extra mezzo drop on the bottom lines, then that's a cool little extra. But that's not going to be the main thing to look for then, especially not if you're like 275 and stuff.
Yeah, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I
do just plan on farming on my Mihile, but farming for Mesos or items in general is pretty ass until we get to Celis.
Yeah, because the how far the monsters away are for your Royal Guard, right? You don't hit too many at once.
Yeah.
I guess in Arcana, like in CLP, you can stand in the middle, but barely has any monsters, so it's not that great.
CLP, like Arcana is just terrible for Mihile in general. I farm currently in lower path 1 because I'm not one-shotting on MTS 2, 3, or 4.
Oh yeah, you want that one because the spiders have bigger hitboxes and they're kind of closer.
Yeah, and also like it just fits my rotation and cooldown so perfectly. Doing a rotation, I know Sacrix showed like a really good rotation for that map, and it works beautifully if you can one shot. They live my attacks. Like I need them to get one shot by my Radiant Cross for it to actually be efficient. They do get one shot by the 5 stacks of Royal Guard, but it's still like they still need to get one shot by the Radiant Cross. Yeah. Which they live with like a third HP.
And how are your boost nodes looking for that and arcane power?
So, I should probably screenshot that, huh?
Well, if it's terribly important, I mean that could explain part of the lack of damage, right? I mean, part of it, all the damage comes from everywhere, of course, but the nodes and the arcane power are definitely very important things. And if you've quit your Mihile for a while, you haven't played for a while, I'm guessing the arcane power is probably a little bit behind where it could be, depending on, I mean, especially, it has to be, based on if you were playing for 5 years, it would have been maxed a long time ago, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, when I came back, the Mihile was 160.
Yeah.
So, it was a bit of ways away. So, the progression on it is definitely hurt. I do have decent trinodes. Like, I have Boost Royal Guard, and the other 2 are 4-point Assault for bossing and Radiant Cross for mobbing. That's at rank 15. And I have one that boosts Radiant Cross and Radiant Cross Spread with Royal Guard and 4-point Assault at level 17. And then just because they're not at rank 25 yet, I have an additional one for my charging light, which is just a
dash,
like
right?
15. Yeah, it's like a 15-second cooldown upwards attack. It just hits things above me and in front of me.
Oh,
That's
that one, like the hyper skill,
Yeah.
like the big box.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
the hyper skill. That one's at rank 15, and it has Radiant Cross and final damage on it. Just because I really wanted to get that Radiant Cross up with it, so like the bonus final damage from all these three combined is 40, 44, and 38.
Yeah, so that gets you the bonus stuff, the bonus IED.
Yeah.
Does Mihile want to go super hard on like a second set?
Do my rolls like my current potentials on my items look decent enough for like what it should be at right now before I work on a second set, or should I get them up to like a stronger point? Because I have like 2-line attack on my emblem. 3-line attack is ambitious right now.
Yeah, that's really expensive compared to 2.
Yeah.
So like 30 bill on reds or something.
Dude, I feel so bummed out. I spent like a bill on cubes a little ago for my weapon, for my Absolab Saber. And I rolled 3-line magic attack 3 times. I'm not even kidding. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Typical, yeah. Holy shit.
Sag.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably fine too for now. Or like for a build, this is fine. But of course, yeah, if you see that magic attack 3 times, then you feel like that weapon attack should have been there too. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so we can look like short-term, mid-term, long-term kind of thing, and then yeah, for all the other stuff, for all the stuff alongside this, of course, like check out the dailies command and the progression command, right? Those are going to be kind of important to see that you're doing the right content that'll set you up to getting to the right pieces. When it comes to upgrading stuff, since you did come back a while ago, like you were gone for like years, or
yeah.
So what do you feel like you have? Do you have any like major gaps you want to go over, like on stuff like upgrading, like flames and or like how
yeah,
how
like
the sets work, or
definitely figuring out if I have like especially with the changes that are coming, like 17-star Abso versus like 17-star arcane set. I definitely will be getting the arcane set inevitably, considering where I want to go with my Mihile into endgame territory. But definitely for right now, like looking at like what should my next steps be? What should I be prioritizing? Currently my goal right now is I really want to be able to one-shot the mobs, those damn spiders, on MTS 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing what I can do to get into that position, and seeing what I should prioritize. So like right now, I figured, especially with what you were saying earlier, okay, definitely Meso and drop.
Yeah. Well, in this situation, if you go for Meso and drop, you might actually lose some damage, right? Because you're already relying on damage in the stats. So the one thing is, like, arcane power wise, how far are you away from getting bonus damage on the spiders, like the plus 50% bonus?
How much arcane power do I need?
I think 900.
Oh, dude, I'm super close. I made 80.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so for 20 more points, you'll gain 20% final damage. Then you'll go from 130% to 150%.
Oh, and both Morass and Asphera will level up today at reset.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that'll be a nice boost already. Yeah. The other thing, I think that in the short term that will give you a nice boost is if you get a weapon attack flame on your weapon. That'll make a huge difference compared to what you have now.
Versus the damage and all stat, yeah.
Yeah, comparatively, it's kind of hard to compare. Are you familiar with Flame Score?
Flame what now?
I guess not. What Flame Score is? Like if you use a flame, we kind of So there's like a system that basically allows you to make sure you're not comparing apples and oranges, because if you get like on your weapon, like let's say you get 20 strength and 20 dex and 3% damage and 5% all set, like what does that mean, right? What does that equal? What if you get a tier 4 weapon attack and a tier 5 intellect, or what if you get, you know, like how do you compare these things together, right? So the flame score tries to, for the weapon it's a bit harder to do because of percentage damage and boss damage and how they work and how they scale very differently for different classes. But what the flame score tries to do is it tries to reduce to one number all of the things that the flame gives you that gives you any kind of damage. And then that number is the equivalent of, let's say that all of that was just your main stat, then that's the equivalent. So for example, and there's like a calculator for this. So if you check !flames, it goes like, there's a video there that goes deeper in depth. And it has like the score calculator as well. So you can check the, so for example, we take like the hat, right? The Royal Warrior helmet. So you can see, well, so it has 12 dex that gives you a little bit, and then a 6% all stat, right? So flame-wise, that's the only stuff that gives you any damage.
Mm-hmm.
So we can say here, your strength main stat character. Well, we're eventually aiming for endgame. We can put that up, right? And then you have 6 all. So you can see that's a flame score of 66. So again, that number doesn't mean anything to you, but basically if you had 66 strength and you were in endgame and all of your equip was upgraded for endgame, whether you had this flame and you take that to endgame or you have a 66 strength flame endgame, that'll roughly give you the same damage. And any other combination of like numbers here that would end up being around that number like this would be very close as well. So that's like a way that you can, you can kind of gauge. And because the main thing is, every single time you switch something, the balance between all your stats shifts a little bit, right? If you gain a lot of stat, comparatively, everything with stat will go down a little bit. If you gain a lot of all stat, everything you already have that has all stat, comparatively, will go down a little bit. Same thing with attack. And it's always a balance between all the stats. And that's why sometimes a flame can look way better, even though the flame score is lower, and sometimes the opposite can be true. As long as you know what flame score you're eventually aiming for and you're comparing with the right numbers, that will mean that you don't have to constantly redo them, because that would be highly inefficient and very expensive, of course.
Yeah.
So this way you can kind of keep track. So if you check !progression, this one tries to keep track of all the numbers that you want to be aiming for. So this also has flame scores in there. Right here. Oh no, this is for weapon. So this is a flame score for items that have flame advantage, and some items don't have flame advantage. There's like a database for that, but after a while you'll be able to tell as well. If you go through the flame video, that'll help you a lot. So this one right here, that under !flames, this one goes more in depth. So you can see kind of like what flame score that you're looking for. So the CRA is flame advantaged. So if you're looking for mid game, end of mid game, like early late game, you're looking for like the flame score. So we calculated for end game now. So like eventually you want to get to like a 110 or plus. So there's like definitely something to gain there, right? So basically what you'll end up doing in the beginning is just kind of checking for all the items, like what's my flame score now? What am I roughly trying to have? And what is the potential for gains there? And you'll probably pretty easily be able to tell like which items are very close already to where you want them to be and which ones are the furthest away. And then that'll just kind of set up your priority of what to flame. When I look at your account right now, there's like a lot of potential gains for flames. Like on the CRA there's some as well, but like the Dominator pen, for example, has like basically nothing. So everything there is potential gain. Your weapon is crazy because, and if you go back to the flame score, to the calculator, when it comes to the weapon, so you see here weapon flame, what we're mainly looking for here is the tier of attack. And that's why I don't have a number here, because the tiers for attack, for the other ones are just numbers, so we can reduce it to the flame score. But when it comes to weapons, it's a percentage of your base attack of your weapon. So it would go all over the place with all the different weapons that exist. So we're just going for the tier. And that's why this little tool here for the weapon flame tier lets you calculate. So if you check that you're an Absolab weapon, it's flame advantage. Absolab is flame advantage, you know that now. And the base attack is... I don't know, but is it 200 or something? 197, close enough. then you can see here what the possible outcomes are for weapon tech if you use flames. And then here you can see what you're looking for, right? So you would ideally be looking for a tier 5 with something or a tier 6. That's what you're looking for. And then the plus, you can see here what that means. So that means any kind of combination of percentage boss, percentage boss damage, or percentage all stat. These are like the biggest side lines that you could get on flames that still give you a lot of stats. That would kind of put your flame over the edge to being like better, right? So like if you hit a tier 4, but all the other ones you have and they're all tier 6, that's probably better than just a tier 5 attack with nothing, right? And so that's kind of how you want to look at that. It's not an exact science, but that's why it's kind of got these ranges and these general goals of what to look for. So the tier 5 you can see here would be like, so if you hit 60 attack and some other stuff that helps you, that could be cool, or you hit 79. So let's say you hit you hit 60 attack, and it also has like 5% damage and maybe some strength. That could be good enough. You hit tier 6 attack with nothing at all. That could be good enough for now. And then eventually, once you get further, you might want to upgrade it. Or if you get to the arcane weapon first, then of course you just 100% focus on that and just leave this one by the wayside completely. But again, since you can throw it into the flame calculator, right, and you look at the scores here and you look at the numbers that you're aiming for, it's like the items without advantage. This is stuff like superior gear and Sweetwater gear. You're looking for like 25, up to 50 once you hit like level 270, right? So this is going to be like around 25 to 30 for the longest time. Your advantage stuff for like around 85, 90 for the Abzo stuff, maybe going slightly over 100. Again, depending on how long you have it until you go for arcane stuff. But when it comes to the weapon, you have some stuff now, but like if you get tier 6 and it's 79 attack, like you're looking at this, right? So if you look at the possible gains on the other item's flame score versus the weapon, like it's a completely different ball game. So that's why when I look at like the equips, I can see, okay, the weapon is by and far the number one that flame-wise you can make any gains on for any kind of money. Because you can also check here. There's also a calculator, a lot of stuff I know. That can basically check like how expensive is it roughly going to be. So let's say that you're just a regular character, and for your weapon you're going to use red flames, and you're looking for tier 6 attack with maybe just nothing, just this. Since you're like somewhere between average of 34 flames and a 10 mil flame, that's 340 mil. That's not that much money to gain that much, right? Comparatively, that's a very cheap upgrade that gives you a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Or like a tier 5 with, I don't know, with 10% boss or something. You see like how much more that already is. That's like 100 flames on average. So maybe with like 4% or something, right? That's like the same ballpark of how much it's going to give you. 8%, right? So you can play around with this a little bit. And then for star forcing, there's also a calculator like this, basically, and for cubing as well. So you can kind of keep track of, okay, what are my possible upgrades, and then kind of just compare the numbers and see like what makes sense. And the further you go, the more you just wait for events. And flaming has no event, right? So that's why usually that's the last one we mention. But because you need that damage right now to be able to kill faster, you do have the final damage on the way. But because we have the because we have this potential for damage increase, and a lot of the other stuff is already, like, I don't want to mess with the WSE potential at this point. That's otherwise the thing that I look at the first, right? If you can just throw some cubes at weapon secondary or emblem, I look at the potential.
What is WSE?
Weapon secondary emblem.
Oh, okay, I see.
Usually we abbreviate that because that's where attack percent, boss damage, and IED come in, and those are the biggest manipulators of damage, way higher than what stat can do. So that's usually your priority. Since those are at a point now where, like, we could throw it into the calculator to see like how much would you have to spend to upgrade, that's prohibitive at this point. So like flaming on the weapon, that would be something. The other thing we have to keep in mind is events, right? We have no 30% off event on the way. We have no 5, 10, 15 on the way. You know about these events, how they work?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we have, since recently, they've started adding the 1+1 events for Star Force, and we have one of those coming, not this weekend, but next weekend. So that's basically whenever you Star Force, you gain 2 stars instead of 1, and that works all the way up to 10. So if you succeed at 10, you go to 12. And then if you succeed at 11 or higher, it just gives you 1 star. So that can be helpful to get you to 15. Usually it's, you know, it's cheaper than not having any event. It's a little bit more expensive still than having 30% off, but it can be like a nice placeholder to make sure you get everything to 15. But now in the current night troop, we also have the no boom room, right? Which means you don't have to safeguard all the way up to 15. There's always 0% chance to blow up. So if there are some pieces...
that helped me out a lot. The only piece I don't have at 15 stars is the helmet.
Yeah, the helmet. And yeah, and your pendant, I see. The Dominator.
Oh yeah, the Dominator pendant's also for 14.
And oh, your top is 12, or did you do that one in the meantime?
The top is still 12.
Okay.
I was gonna check to see from other, what's it called? Speaking of which, because I just ran CRA, so I got 2 new tops. So I wanted to just see before I finished it off. Nope, 2 trash flames.
Oh, you want to see if you got a really good flame? I see.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if I got a good flame before I was like, get this thing to 15 stars.
Yeah, it's already. I mean, it's already unique with 50% strength as well. So I would keep that. I think it's easier to get a flame. And again, if you want to know, right, we can just go back. We can immediately just check. We can check the flame calculator, right? We can do like, okay, we want to have an armor. It's level 140 to 159. Powerful flames. So this is where the flame score comes in again. And you can see the numbers from here. You can see what we draw. So if you want to know, you can just put a 1 here, and you can see how much it is. So the weapon attack stands for 3. The strength stands for 1, right? Because that's what we redirect to. Dex is 1 to 10, or yeah, 1 to 10. And then all stat usually here, if you're going for endgame, is around a 9. So you can use those same numbers here. This is customizable because for some classes these balances will be different. So 9, 3, and 10 is typically what you use if you're looking for endgame. Flame advantage item on the top. Let's say that we're looking right now on the top. Again, we can calculate what you have right now. We'll just go through the whole process now a few times so it becomes more simple. So you have 16 strength, 12 dex, and 5 all. So we go 16, 12, 5. So we're at 62.2. Right. So we want to. What if we wanted to upgrade that? Let's say, like, what would you sell for? If it was like 80, would you sell for that?
80 strength or 80 flame score, or like
that'll be the same, right? Yeah,
exactly. That'd be the same thing.
Anything you can redirect to 80ish. Like if you look at the progression grid, what we'd be looking at would be somewhere close to 85. So like 80 would be very close to that, and compared to your other pieces, 80 would be on the higher end. But let's just put in 85 for now, right? Let's see. So you see here, like median flames 28, average flames 41, and flames are 10 mil each, right? So that's 410 mil. Well, how much is it going to cost you to 12 star it, to get it back to unique, and to get 2-line strength on it on unique, compared to 410 mil on average to get that flame?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so that's how you want to look at upgrades, basically. And these calculators will help you gain that insight. And so in the beginning, you'll just throw like a bunch of things in there. And after a while, you'll get an idea for like, oh, no, this is not the way to go. Or, oh, this is actually way cheaper. I should just hold off on this. So that's why when I look at the gear, I immediately see like, okay, a bunch of your stuff is close to 15. I would just wait until the Sunday where it's 1+1 and then bump them up to 15. Because if you do get unlucky and they go all the way back down to 10, you'll save a little bit more money. Plus, just getting to 15 is not a huge buff, so there's no rush in that. There's only a rush in getting to 15 if there's a 5, 10, 15 event. And again, we can go back to the calculator, because what happens when there's a 5, 10, 15 event, we go to !Star Force here. Boop, and there's another calculator right here. And then, like, let's say, right, there's like a level 150 item, or let's say 160, right, because there's a bunch of Absolute stuff. Like say we would star catch and we would safeguard, right? Because we want to make sure that it doesn't boom. And we go from 15 to 17, and there's no event whatsoever. Okay, it's like 1.3 bill median, 1.75 average cost, 1.75 bill per piece to get from 15 to 17. But we want to get to 17 because that's when all the weapon attack and the big chunks of stat come in, right? That's a huge increase.
Yeah.
But
I'm just waiting for that 5, 10, 15 star event to come back around.
Exactly, but what if we wait for 5, 10, 15? Like, bam, a third of the price almost, right? So this is one of these events that's very important to wait for. So you're basically, by getting to 15, you're basically paying the admission fee to get to play above 15. But by itself, it doesn't give that much stats. So no rush. I would just wait until the event to get the other pieces to 15, including the top, the hat, and the pendant. And on the topic of the pendant, are you familiar with jumbling this all up? Are you familiar with transposing?
Yeah, I transposed a Papaludus mark on my Sweetwater monocle during the last 5, 10, 15 star event. But I single tier. I did not know that transposing had such a low success rate, and I did not know that that shit costed dineros.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that the pep mark was going to be so rare to to try again if you... Because like when it comes to the flame score for transposing, typically you aim very high, because now it's like stuck onto the character, right? So like I was kind of looking at your monocle and I was like, either this was like a really good, like for now, like a really good flame that you got on it, or you transpose really low. Because if we redirect this, basically, well, not to like, you know, pour salt in the open wound, but like if you go back to the calculator and you look at, when it comes to like the flaming calculator and what you're looking at, basically what you want to try to get is you want to try to get a flame score of like endgame, because once you transpose over the flame score and it gets locked on there. If you would ever flame the item again, because the item inherently does not have flame advantage, you would get one of these shitty flames again. You would get one of these. So you basically just want to keep flaming on the source item on the Papalatus mark until you get a really good flame, like an endgame worthy flame, and then transpose it so that it can scale with your character. Especially,
dude, my friends suck. They didn't tell me any of that. They were just like, oh yeah, dude, transpose that shit. I'm like, all right, I'll do that.
Yeah. I think you, yeah, I don't think, and even if you check, you did do it at 16 though, right? Because you do have the 8 extra attack.
Yeah, I transposed it at 16.
Yeah, that part you got right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got the Papaludus mark to 16 because of the 510 star event, but I couldn't get it to 16 afterwards because I didn't have enough dinero to actually get a successful transpose until like a day later.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me, or a couple days later. But
yeah. It can take anywhere from like 1 day if people are lucky to like a few weeks because it's a pretty low chance and your dineros just melt. Yeah.
So single tier looks like I'm gonna be looking for CPAP groups again.
Yeah, it's yeah, or solo, because Mihile can ignore a lot of the mechanics of that boss if you learn to time your Royal Guard correctly.
True.
And you're like at the strength around your level, you could like not even crazy out there soloing at this point.
Word.
Yeah,
Right,
I have a video on
I'll
CPAP. You could, it's under ! CPAP, where I basically talk through one of my runs on an Adele lower level character. It also has like the Ether Guard, right, which is kind of similar to the Royal Guard, so you can kind of see how that goes. But you have way more activation on your Royal Guard, so there's a lot more mechanics and a lot more situations where other people are like, uh-oh, I need to avoid this, or you can just like stand there and just tank it. But it has some tips on like damage, because what you'll probably also have to do is change your damage to blades so that you don't cover Papalatus with numbers, so you can see the clock numbers. Those are very important, that you don't get sealed. But again, you can also ignore that if you that mechanic you can also ignore if you just Royal Guard in time. You can also ignore that whole thing. There's a lot of stuff you can ignore if you Royal Guard properly and use your. Does using the sword that activates the explosion from Royal Guard, that doesn't give you the iframe of Royal Guard, right? Or does it?
Sword of Light? No, it does not.
Okay. That would be that would be broken.
Unless I'm mistaken, yeah, that'd be super broken. You should do that.
Yeah, you should definitely do that because Mihile could use some help. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish. Only thing I wish, like when it comes to Mihile, that they would change is have our Radiant Soul hit more mobs. It's like, other than our Royal Guard, it's like our biggest mobbing ability, and it hits like 8. Like
yeah, does it 8? Yeah,
mobs.
It
hits
so.
8 mobs.
It should be 12 or 16. Yeah.
And the burst isn't even insane, especially when you're considering it's like a 3-minute cooldown.
Yeah.
So it's like, they definitely buffed it with the
Yeah.
active burst ability. That burst is nice. Like that
Was
burst is
was that
really
the pillar,
nice for
the
taking
pillars
out
thing?
bosses.
That's one of the newest things, right? With the light
Yeah.
pillars or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the newest thing that they changed. They took away the damage bonus from, I think, Light of Courage, and they put it onto, yeah, they put the active damage attack to combine it with Radiant Soul, which honestly, the effect where it just starts hitting random mobs across the map in your area, kind of useless to put it in on Radiant Soul, because Radiant Soul, like, you're just jumping around spamming that, killing everything in sight anyways. There's no point in having that active. I don't know why they did that change. I don't know why they did that change. It wasn't what it needed, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the active is nice. I will say that the active is really nice for just bursting down an elite when it hops into the map.
Yeah.
And just one-shot it.
Yup. Yeah, so to recap, like if you do get another pap mark, so the flame that you typically want to go for is like at least this, like the 105. People sometimes aim above that for up to like 115 or something to because then you're really just like set with it, because once it's transposed, it's locked on there, and then the only thing you do from there is star forcing and cubing, and you don't touch the flame again ever. Yeah.
So in about 6 years, when another pap mark drops,
yeah,
I'll get another shot at that.
Yeah, they do drop, but yeah, they're not very common unless you're my Demon Avenger, who's gotten 8 so far.
Yeah, it was during the Goo Island event that it dropped. Literally the same week that the 5, 10, 15 star event was coming.
Oh, I see.
So
yeah, blame your friends.
It had the pop drop bonus.
If they said the 16 star but they didn't tell you about the flame, then you should blame your friends about that. Yeah. Like a flame like this, for example, is like, it's like on the, well, this would be, I think, good enough to transpose. So it's got 40 strength, 24 dex, and then also 5 attack, and also 6 all stat. So this one would be, I think if you put it in the flame score, I think it would be like 106 or 10 something like that. So it would like just be over the threshold. So that would be something to that you want to look for. Yeah.
Hook it up with that pop mark reboot single tier.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how you can kind of use like the grid, I guess, to kind of predict on where you want to go and what is like enough. And you can use the flame score calculator as well to be like, okay, this is the flame of my what was it, of your top or something, right? You can just do top save, and it'll just save for you like your flame scores, and that way you can compare them more easily as well. And then you can compare them all to this and have a better overview on like what is the next item to go. But I guess with that information, if you look at your items now, what do you think flame-wise could, except your weapon, of course, could gain the most stats?
As you were saying earlier, my pendant.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also I would want to eventually, if I get a really good flame on that, I would then want to transpose that to the Sweetwater pendant.
So same rules, right, as the Papalatus mark, like same type of amount of flame you're looking for, because they're within the same tier, because they're the same level, so you look for the same flame score, and also 16 stars when you transpose. Same rules there.
Yeah. So like, do you think it also, like, also just out of curiosity when it comes to flames, what's the difference between like the rebirth flames and the regular red flames that you can buy from the shop? Like I saw it was like you can get like a 1 to 4 versus a 2 to 4 or 2 to 5 or something like that, but I wasn't quite certain what that meant exactly. Then it was probably just better, higher ranked stats, you could say.
Yeah. So when you roll, there's like 7 potential tiers of outcomes for every single stat that gets rolled, and what quality the item is, whether it has advantage or not, that determines how many rolls you get. So like that's one to anywhere from 1 to 4. I think if it's from an elite boss drop, it's 2 to 4, and if it's a flame advantage item, it's always 4. So that's the one you want to prioritize for flaming, because that's where you get the best value return. And if you look at your outcomes, you can see like small numbers and a small amount of numbers on high level items, then you know it doesn't have flame advantage. Like look at the flame on your Sweetwater tattoo. It's just 15 strength and 15 dex, like that's it. So you know that item does not have flame advantage. There's no way, right? Because there's less than 4 lines there. There's just 2 lines, and there's small lines on a level 160 item. Look at your earrings, for example. Like it's 4 strength, 8 int, 4 luck, 2% all stat. That's a large amount of lines, but the numbers are so small. Like that shouldn't be possible on a 150.
It's pretty dog shit.
And then you look at your Absolab, for example. 30 strength, 20 dex, 75 intellect, 20 luck, 6% all stat. Like, you see the night and day difference there, right? Those are pretty obvious. But once you know that a type of item has flame advantage or not, that's always the same. So like all superior gear, all Sweetwater gear doesn't have flame advantage. That means when it comes to flaming, they're very low priority. What has high priority? Items with flame advantage, like Absolab, CRA, Pink Holy Cup, Dominator Pennant, those kind of things. And the higher the level there, the better. So I guess to go back to the question, like what would you flame? Where do you think you can make the most gains when it comes to flame score? The pendant is still definitely up there, but the pendant is mostly like in preparation for when you're going to be transposing. And I think you don't have to worry about transposing pendant until you have like enough Dineros and until you're looking at like everything being 17 star. I would spend more money first on getting like the Abzo and the CRA and everything to 17 before you start thinking about transposing, because you pretty much want the whole well, you basically already have the superior set, right? Because it's old character. But yeah, like when you go full superior set, basically, and Sweetwater, you get out of all the boss accessory sets, you kind of skip that step because it's old character, and you could. And everything is 17 star, and everything goes to legendary. That's when you want to see like the transposed pennant in there as well. So that gives you plenty of time to work on the flame. And until that time, I would flame other stuff first. Like you can get an okay flame on the Dominator pennant, get like, you know, like 50 strength or something. Like that'll be a huge boost compared to now, but it's not anything crazy. But like after the weapon, do you see any other pieces where you're like, okay, this could get like a lot of gains flame wise? Just to double check if you like understood the concept, I guess.
Seeing, let me see, for my Absolab, I like my gloves where they are now. I can do those later. Definitely my cape for sure.
Because if you compare your glove and your cape, right? So you know that all stat is like, when you go for endgame, is roughly 9 stat per all stat, right? So it's like 54, 30 strength, 84, dex 10 to 1, so that's 2, so that's roughly an 86 compared to your cape, which is a 14, right? So there's like, if you get the cape on the level of the glove, that's 72 stat gain right there. And same thing with the shoes, right? Shoes is at 25, and that's it. So like just those two, getting them on the level of the glove, will be like 140 strength gained. And again, you can look at the calculator to see how much expensive that's going to be. It's not going to be super expensive. Now, to say like go spend all your money at flames immediately, I wouldn't do that, right? I would say spend flames for the weapon. Make sure you have enough on the side to make sure you get everything to 15 during the 1+1 event. Once you have that, I would say spend a little bit on flames and just get the general flame score up a little bit. Because just across the board, I think you can gain like 300 strength or not. Like the CRA can all be a little bit better. The Abzo can be a lot better. The Pennant can be better. That's all after the weapon. I wouldn't spend anything on the Sweetwater stuff and wouldn't spend anything on the superior stuff for now. Everything else I would save for save for either Arcane Weapon, or you would save for if you get an announcement for a 5, 10, 15, because then you want to have all your money and you want to be able to send everything to 17 and be able to safeguard. Because 15 to 17 is going to be a huge change. So I also wouldn't touch any of your potentials, honestly. I think those are all fine. So let's say we get the next batch of events and there's no 5, 10, 15 in there. What do you think I would advise then?
If there's no 5, 10, 15, then flaming?
Yeah, or what is the other thing that will give you more money to make sure that you can definitely be ready for the next 5, 10, 15? Because it gives you a buffer. You can invest more, so you can make money more in the long term. Where can you invest at this point, and that you can then make returns on, so you can be even more rich the next time the event comes around? You've mentioned it before.
Obtain.
Exactly. That's when you go for the meso and the drop, because there's no direct price, no direct cost for going for that, right? Because there's no 5, 10, 15. Then you just invest more first in the accessories, get a bunch of legendary, get a bunch of drop and meso, and then by the next time the 5, 10, 15 rolls around, you will have made enough back. You can push everything to 17 and then go beyond.
Okay. Good advice, thank you.
Yeah,
and,
so in the meantime, make sure you keep doing the right dailies and the bosses so you can get the pieces on the side that you can use to get the drop and the meso obtain on, right?
Yeah, I'm four helixes away from getting the ring, and that's the last superior piece I need for the set, which will be a huge bonus.
Mainly for bossing, right? For mobbing, it will do almost nothing. That's a little bit of the downside, but for bossing, it'll be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like right now I can solo hard Magnus. I can easily solo hard Hilla, especially with the changes. I like how they finally gave Mihile the
I'm a demon. I know. It took us so long.
Like they finally gave it and they got rid of it, but I'm like, all right, I guess it's useful for Pino. And
No, later, like late game, end game bosses, you'll need it. You'll need it. Don't worry. But yeah, I had the same thing with my demon because I always had to like walk in and either with Hero's Will or walk in with Frenzion and then jump on top of her, and then get caged, and then the frenzy spots on the ground would still kill her while I was in a cage, and then use a buff freezer to keep my buffs and then loot all the stuff. And it's like, yes, now I finally have the will skill, and then they remove the cage, and it's like, okay.
Dude, the week before they got rid of it, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna one shot this bitch. I'm just gonna pop everything, pop in, one shot, and immediately if she lives, I have Royal Guard to pop, and that only gives me a 2-second gateway to getting hit by this thing. I'll be fine. The very second I step in, I don't even hit this bitch. Caged.
Boom, cage. Yeah, it's immediately.
Single tier. I'm like.
Yeah, she's not. Not very forgiving. She's more forgiving now, except for weaker people. It's actually tricky because she lifesteals a lot, and apparently for newer people, sometimes she just out heals all the time. Because she'll summon monsters and lifesteal, but she'll keep lifestealing even if you kill the monsters. So she could just keep going, and weak people kind of have trouble killing her at this point. If you're strong, though, it's much easier that the cage is gone. Yeah.
Oh yeah, everything just gets deleted by Royal Guard. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, someone in chat said that you might want to go for Abzu Hat if you land an arcane weapon. That's true, right? Because you want to maintain the set bonus.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That'd be really good. That's why I was hesitant on my helmet. I was like, I don't want to get it to 15 stars because I'm running Lucid. It might drop. You know, I can drop.
You know. And then the reality starts sinking in. Like, okay, this is way more rare than I hoped it would be.
And I'm like, right now I'm at let's see.
But even up to 17, there's never like a missed opportunity, right? Because if you do eventually go for full arcane set, then you switch the hat back to CRA anyway. So there's no missed investment there.
True that. I'm at 12 butterfly droplets stones. I'm at 16 arcane river droplets.
Yeah, the drop in the meso is gonna be important there. So if like you want to look for 5 lines of meso obtain, 4 lines of drop rate, over 9 accessories, right? So that all of them has 1 line. Hopefully you can get 1 line of strength or maybe all stat on all of them as well, so that adds up and cushions the blow a little bit, going from damage to down to drop rate. Star Force wise, you probably want to get the stuff to 12. So maybe if you have some pieces in mind already that can be Star Force, maybe you can also next week on that event just pop them up to 12. It's going to be very cheap, right?
Yeah.
If you get your superior ring, then that's going to be ideal as well to do during that event, right? No need to safeguard, and 1+1 up to 15. That's going to save you a lot of money.
No, yeah, most definitely. That's what I'm really excited for. And if I don't get the lucid weapon, I can just unique scroll it. And then as for bosses, the only ones I can't solo are Lotus, Damien, and the frickin' clown boss.
Yeah, Pierre is too tricky.
Pierre.
Are you using your bind for that?
I should be able to solo them.
Yeah. Do you know when he splits?
I don't. I should watch a video on when he splits.
Yeah.
As for the bind, Mihile doesn't have a bind, so I have to like switch a skill in the V matrix. Which
wait, do you not have?
I had.
Bind? Oh, am I mixing that up with the paladin skill? Looks kind of yellow and lighty. Oh yeah.
Mihile does not have a bind, unfortunately, so I have to use it on the B matrix, which just last week I had just found out that the B matrix. Yeah, and I found out from one of my friends who barely plays this game that I need to tell him how to do air to spectrum, and he had to tell me that. I'm like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
There's too much to this game, bro.
Yeah, they added the dailies they added dailies to the other areas, right? So if you played back then and then you're coming back, you just don't assume that they're there, but then suddenly you you could have been doubling up on your symbol dailies the whole time. Did you do the like Reverse City and Yum Yum Island quest lines to double up?
Yeah. I've done all those, and currently my arcane symbols are at like 16, 16, 11, 11, 8, 8.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's great.
So they're
Yeah, that's why you're so close to the 900. Yeah.
So they're getting up there. I'm of course looking to max them all out. Like I don't care if it's it cost me 100 mil or whatever. I'll just do that. I'll grind out 100
mil. Wait until you get to sacred symbols, dude.
Oh god.
I leveled mine.
Excited.
I leveled my sacred symbol, Cernium, from 6 to 7 with 700 mil. Yeah.
That's cold, dude. That's so cold.
It's so costly.
That's so messed up. It's like,
but, I mean, yeah, it's 100 stat extra. I mean, on top of what you already have. So wait, actually, no. I think it's 300 at this point. Yeah, these start with 500 and then 300 per level. So it is quite a lot of stat on top of everything already.
So at least like you're not spending that ridiculous amount for the same bonuses that you would be getting from the arcane symbols.
Yeah, so the stat is better, but the power is worse. So you start with, for symbols it's 30 and then 10 per level, but these are 10 starting and then 10 per level, and they need way more symbols every single time you level. They cap at 11. They're way more expensive, and you also only have like 2 dailies for the first one for 5 each, and 1 daily for the second one for just 5 each. So it levels slower. You need more of them for every level. It's way more expensive, and it's fewer points per. So it's just way rougher on the startup. But you know, just like they did with symbols, they'll probably add more dailies, add more bonuses. They're starting with the winter event for the first time. You'll actually be able to buy some from the shops as well to start speeding up. But yeah, they want to heavily gate new people getting into the new content, right? And then once that gets rolling, then they'll ease the access, just like with symbols. Because in the beginning, right, it was Vanishing Journey was 8 per day, and then Choo Choo was up to 15 per day. Like that's what the start was. And now Choo Choo is now Vanishing Journey is 22, Choo Choo is 23, right? Like it's kind of crazy. It's almost triple the amount for Vanishing Journey. So, yeah, that's
these node stones are killing me, man. They're not giving me anything that I need.
Yeah,
but that's everybody.
Nodes is more of a bottleneck now. Nodes was kind of always a bottleneck, but for a different reason. Now it's a bottleneck because you have so many things that you want to use them on. It feels like they're more rare, but they're actually more common now than they were. But because you need more stuff to use it on, you feel like you have fewer of them. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I know. I agree. I remember when the V event came out. This character still has some V coins. Hopefully, I'm spending.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, like those nodes would not drop out.
No, way in the beginning they were like super common, but then you could get nodes from any class. Like I would get 0 nodes when the character didn't even exist yet, right? Back in the day.
Yeah.
And then you had to extract everything, so the average value per node was way lower. And then they nerfed the drop, but then they increased the quality of the nodes by a lot. I don't know. I like the current system better.
I still had some of those nodes. I still had some of those nodes on one of my my paladin.
You like keep them with like shitty skills from a different class. Yeah.
I like some pirate ones. I'm like, what the hell do I have this for?
Yeah, I think I had like a beast tamer and a 0 one on my DA. It was like, okay, this is very useful. Thank you. I love it.
But that's for like maybe things like link skills. I've been doing pretty good on my link skills. I have the past month I got my art currently is 210. My Evan is 202. I'm waiting for the next week on the event thing where it gives you 8 level up potions to 210.
Right, yeah. And
I'm just gonna do that on the Evan because I hate playing it. And then everything else, all my link skills are pretty much all 3-star except. Okay, never mind. Demon Slayer's almost there. Luminous and Phantom.
Yeah, I mean, you have a big Legion already, so that's like, you know, again, you can keep track of that as well a little bit, right? Again, it's all just like a little bit of a guiding numbers, but if you look at like Legion level is also here in the progression grid, right? You see like that one, like what I advise to have at least is like around your point is like to be around 4K at least. and you're like way ahead of that, so that can make up a little bit for if you have some lack in other stuff, right? If you like doing Legion more, then you can just push that a little bit further, and then that can compensate for something else that you don't like doing as much, for example. So that way you can kind of move around with this as well.
I definitely did like working on the Legion until the 140 to 200 grind came. Was less so a fan of that.
Yeah, just it's a bit different, yeah.
Just it's honestly it's the 180 to 200. It's the 180 to 198 grind. Those last two levels go by real easy.
Yeah, you're cutting down, plus the last 50% in Scrapyard is just free.
Exactly. So it's like
yeah, for sure. You want to you'll be able to kill those masks efficiently, which is not that easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Some classes it's like piece of cake, but most classes like, oof, these boys are chunky. They're not going down.
Yeah, it was a single tier. All the Beast Tamer videos like, oh dude, it's so easy. I'm like, these motherfuckers are on regular servers.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that you did mention though. You mentioned like the Sacrix rotation. Remember also that he has a frenzy totem, so that does kind of change up where the spawn is and how fast it does respawn. So make sure you take that into consideration when you're looking at like rotations and which maps to go to.
No, absolutely. I'm thinking about it with like a wild totem. I've done the rotation when I had like a ton of buffs after a boss that I thought I'd die on. So with all those buffs, I was able to one-shot them during that time. Had a wild totem and I just went ham, and the rotation just felt so nice. It was really fluid and really efficient. But without them, because they're not ones that it was like a lot of these buffs are from Winter from 5 years ago. And I don't want to just use them liberally.
Right. Yeah. So give a gander to the dailies, right? ! dailies, and look for your level in the second sheet. We'll have some stuff for like stuff that's good around your level. It also has Monster Park in there. Definitely try to go for that Monster Parker 7-day Monster Parker badge. The medal. And in doing that, you'll also get a lot of boxes, like Saturday and Sunday boxes can also give you experience coupons. And then the coins will give you the Monster Park buffs that will also help you, right? The green buff with the attack speed, and then the gold one for extra EXP, the red one for extra power if you're bossing. Those will be very, very helpful tools. And once you have like a lot of those, which will happen if you religiously do Monster Park as well, you can also start using them.
Monster Parks a day.
Yeah, okay, so you're using that on your Legion mules as well. That gives them that extra power as well, right?
Yeah, so on I primarily at the moment I'm gonna spam the Monster Parks eventually, but I just once I get to like 8K Legion. But the Monster Parks, especially with these events that like double the EXP on them, are super good for getting levels. On my mules that I just don't want to frickin' play.
Yeah, it's too tempting to
exactly.
To pass
like
up
I have Intellion Guardian, and yeah, the metal is really nice, but you know, hopefully Pink Bean event comes in.
Yeah, who knows? For the title maybe as well, right?
Yeah. Oh wait, was that only for the title, or was that? Oh, that was best in slot title, huh?
Yeah, best in slot title. Yeah. And also we missed. Well, we didn't get a Pink Bean that KMS got. That also gave a Pat Mark. We completely didn't get that one.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
That existed?
Yeah, they skipped 3 Pink Bean events. Well, 2, and then the current one that KMS had like around this time was like Pink Bean and Yeti event with a world where you can create Pink Bean and Yeti characters, where you could also get like a combined best in slot title and some other stuff, and that one doesn't seem like it's coming for us either, so I don't know why they're skipping all of that, but they are. Yeah.
They don't want to give NA anything, bro. Or just GMS in general.
I guess not. Yeah. I don't know if it's like too hard to implement those extra servers and they just don't want to deal with it. I'm not sure.
I live up the street from Nexon HQ, man. I can just walk on over and give him a piece of my mind for us.
And then give him a stern handshake and ask them
exactly
why.
Now give me some free NX. I know the guys at Riot, whenever they would come into my work, they'd just give me free.
Yeah, don't know if that works. So yeah, so that's kind of like the order, I guess, for all the stuff.
So currently, I want to say, okay, for flaming, I want to prioritize my weapon, and then I want weapon attack on it, as you were saying, just so I can remember clearly. All right, so I want to go for a weapon attack, and what what in weapon attack am I looking for? Like, what are, like,
Yeah, so check the
what
tiers, right?
numbers?
So if you use the calculator, so you can use the progression grid to see what you're going to be looking for. So you can always just look for your level, and then look down at the row and see what you're looking for. So you're like at the end of mid game, early of late game. So you look for weapon flame. So it's looking for tier 5 plus or tier 6, and here it says what the plus means. So and then if you use the calculator for the flame score, and you put in the metrics here, so level 160, 197 base, you can see what that means. So tier 5 would be 60, and tier 6 would be 79. And you can always look at this back as well. So once you get your level 200 weapon, I don't know what the base of the 200 weapon is. Maybe it's like, I don't know, like fucking 260 or something. I don't know. Then you can also immediately see what those numbers are going to be once you get into that realm, right? So you can see how much more important it is to have those kind of flames. And when it comes to all the other stuff, you can also kind of keep track of. This way you'll be able to see if some items already have really good flames or if some items need a lot of work. So with the Abzo, you can see probably the glove that it's kind of close. And with the cape and the shoe, you can see that it's way off. So if you have any flames, you can get a lot expected value from using the flames onto those things.
Okay, so getting the powerful Rebirth Flames from the Leaf-Free seller for my weapon, CRA, and Absolab are my prios. My gloves are fine for now, but probably in order: my weapon, then my cape, boots, and then look to get better flames on the rest of my pieces.
Yeah, a little bit of pendant probably, and then probably the CRA stuff.
Yeah, pendant definitely, because I don't have strength, I don't have any percent all stat, and it's all in magic attack and defense. I'm like, yeah.
Which means that pretty much any flame is going to already be an upgrade. So you just want to use, like, look, where do you get the most value out of your flame? And you basically do that by looking at what is the expected return and how much room is there to grow on the item realistically.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's how you go about that. So I would say look at the just check the flame video, the ! flames. Check that one. It goes through the whole thing, and we have the playlist. Just check that video. It explains the whole thing again in detail. It goes over the progression. It goes over the calculator again. Make sure you double check and that you get everything. That'll help you a lot, I think. It'll just recap what we did today, but just to do it in your own time. That's one, and then the other one is make sure you have enough money right for next week to get the stuff to 15 in the shop. So don't like overspend on flames so that you can't use the Sunday, the Sunny Sunday in the no boom room, right? Try to make sure that you capitalize on that, especially for the superior ring. That's going to save you a lot of money. Getting everything to 15, and then basically like you can slowly flame if you find flames. But I would like start working towards the drop in Meso gear, and then if you see with the next batch of Sunny Sundays, if you see a 5, 10, 15 there, then make sure that you have enough money to get as many things to 17 as possible during that. If there isn't one, then go hard on the accessories first, and then wait for the next 5, 10, 15 then, basically.
Okay, and I have this all written down as well.
Yep.
As you're saying. So, what about my cup? Is because I see that the cup is a good one for flaming. My cup is 24 strength, 5% all stat, but then it also has magic attack and int.
Yeah, if you were an int user, then this would be really nice. Well, again,
yeah, it would.
well, I'll let you do the example, right? All right, so we're going here. We're going here, right? So again, we're looking for endgame. We're a strength class, okay. So we have, what was it, 24 strength?
Still waiting for the stream to catch up at the moment.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Which was it, 4? Yeah.
Why not just 17 star the Absa weapon? It's an immediate upgrade. Because I have too much copium on the arcane weapon dropping, and the other side of that is really expensive. But yeah,
it's pretty expensive, and you just want to wait for 5 and 15. You just save so much more money. You save almost like a bill per, or you pretty much save a bill per item. And in the stage that he's in, that's just money that he doesn't have to spend. It's just not necessary.
I don't have to worry about I don't have to worry about my 15-star weapon going down to 10 stars.
No, you have the 20% final damage coming. You have your better flame on your weapon. You're still working on your boost nodes. There's like room for growth there. You don't want to over-invest in the equips right now. You just want to wait until the item comes. So, so we have what was it? 5% all stat?
Yeah, 5%. Was it the cup I was talking about? Yeah, 5% all stat.
Yeah.
And then 24 strength.
Nice. That's 69 flame score for endgame. Beautiful. So then you look at the progression milestones, right? And we look for endgame. So we're looking for 69. So we're looking at the lower end of the flame advantaged because it's a lower level item, right? 140, 150. The reason that there's a range here is because the higher level items are like up to 200. And remember in the beginning when he said like when you roll the flames, it rolls up to 7 different tiers. And those tiers increase as the level of the item increases. So like the same kind of quality of a flame will still be a lower number if the item is a lower level, even if it's also advantaged. So like if you roll like say like tier 6 strength or whatever on a level 140 item, it might be like 48 or something. But on an arcane, it might be like 65 or something, or 64 or something, right? So it's significantly enough different to look for different numbers. Because if you look in the calculator and you try to equate them, the difficulty will be way higher, right? So if I say here 140 to 159 item, and I want to hit like 100, okay, that's going to be like 110 to 159 flames. Well, what if I put 200 here? Well, now it's going to be almost nothing, right? Because it's way easier to hit that same number. But the number doesn't give value because of how good it is, but because of how easy it is to get, right? That's again where we go back to how replaceable is it and how valuable is it, right? It's not just how much does it give you, but also what is the individual value for a flame if you throw it on it, and that goes back to the potential. So that's why we go back to the potential of how much room is there to grow. So that's what this looks at. So
I just popped one flame and on my weapon just for the shits and giggles. It gave me 27 strength, 35 dex, and plus 79 attack power.
Yeah, so I believe the 79, I think that's the one we looked up, right? I think that's the tier 6, yeah. There you go. On one flame. So that's why, so you just gained like 80 weapon attack. So you see, by this, if you just, like, so it's one part is like looking at the calculator, the other one is like knowing what the possibilities are, and you will just get so much more mileage out of your money, basically, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like other people will just kind of need more money to just power through everything, but if you spend it at the right times with events and that kind of stuff, and you spend it in the right places by looking at how expensive is this upgrade and how much do I need to push on this particular part, looking at the calculators, looking at the progression grid, you'll be able to push your money at the right times, at the right places, and that will make sure that you need way less money and you don't have to worry as much about your income, especially not once your accessories are ready for your income. Once that's rolling, you'll be able to just play on your main and just keep going and keep leveling, and you'll always have the money you need for the upgrades because you'll be spending it at the right times, and you won't have to, you just won't have to fuss as much.
Perfect. And here it is. Is this the? Because I'm on the. Is it the Brandon May GitHub IO flame calculator?
Yeah, he does so there's a flame. Yeah, it's like MapleStory tool. So there's a flaming one. That's where you calculate like how many flames it's going to cost on average. So you can kind of compare that one. And then the Starforce one, I use that one as well. Starforcing. And there you can put in all the parameters and which event is going on and everything. Whether you're gonna star catch, whether you're gonna safeguard, and then you can see how much money you would spend potentially for if you blow stuff up, like what the expected booms are, all of that stuff. Those are the main ones I use for him, and then the cubing one as well, all the way on the left. So you can kind of estimate how many cubes you're gonna need to hit a certain potential. That one's a little bit different because sometimes you have to try like what is a specific outcome you're looking for, but if you would settle for like 3 or 4 different outcomes, it's kind of hard to get that from the calculator of like how expensive it's going to be. So that one might be not as reliable in that way, but usually you're looking for pretty specific stats, so you can use it for most scenarios. But yeah, so the cubing, the star forcing, and the flaming, those are the ones I mainly use from him. He has some other ones as well. I don't really use the other ones as much.
Okay. And what was the? I tried seeing the link where you put in the inputs of all the
yeah,
flames,
so
like the strength and the all stat and stuff like that. Where is that link, or is that the same flaming theoretical probability one? Just on a different page.
no, if you look for the flaming video, it's one of the other links there, and it's also in the description of the YouTube video where I explain the
perfect.
flaming. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, I see.
Yeah, and there you can also.
I do have that one open.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, I have it right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can because I just flamed my cape, so I can now take a look at this and see what I need to do to push everything.
Exactly. You can see what flame score it is now, and then you can save them at the bottom as well if you want. You can name it like cape or whatever, and that way you can keep it saved, and you can see the numbers right next to each other. You don't have to like recalculate it every time. You could even add more.
Yeah.
That's someone from my community, Sethi Boy, who made this one based on the numbers that I had in another thing. That allowed me to kind of get rid of an ugly grid with a bunch of numbers in it, and instead have this. It's kind of rudimentary tool, but like it gets the job done. So.
Perfect. No, yeah, dude, thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how much time has passed.
Yeah, a little bit more than an hour, but yeah, make sure you check the CPAP video as well, because I think you'll, with some practice and with some good positioning and knowledge of the mechanics, I think you'll be able to solo CPAP. Because that's basically the next one, like after HMAG, then you have like CPAP, Akechi. Those are good bosses to do. Very big money crystal every week. And then Lotus and Damien are like the next bosses after that.
Right on. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck with everything. And yeah, just go back to the videos if you need anything. And, you know, I'll always be here. And in chat, people will be able to help you out with a lot of helpful people. And yeah, just when in doubt, reach out, I guess, you know. Because
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, because I'm sure your friends meant well, but like missing out on the good flame score and the pap mark is a bit painful because the papulatus mark is so rare, right? And if possible, you want to avoid situations like that. And just double checking with anyone in chat. Most people in chat are here so long, they've heard me explain it to like hundreds of people at this point, so they'll basically just tell you exactly the same thing I would tell you.
Perfect. Well,
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck, and yeah, I'll see you around. Hopefully all the star forcing goes well and the flaming goes as good as the weapon did. One flame immediately tier 6, so...
Right on. Yeah, exactly.
It's a good omen. But yeah, best of luck, and I'll see you around.
Alright, take care.
Alright, bye-bye. Yeah, the other music started playing there, but I think it's free... I think it's free real estate, right? Is it? Otherwise, we'll get in trouble, whatever. But yeah, so that's what happens if you come back into the game after a long time. A lot of stuff has moved around. I'm pretty sure when he quit, flames weren't even a thing, and we still had nebulites rolling around. But yeah, if you're kind of lost, if there's all these things you're not aware of, progression stages, start here. These numbers are what you're looking for. If any of the numbers don't make sense, just hover over, and it'll give you explanation. It'll tell you which command to look at, right? Or well, it doesn't for all of them, but most of these also have links. Like Legion has a bunch of links in the commands in the channel. Starforce has links in the channel. IED has links in the channel. This one doesn't, but it's connected to Hyperstats, which has links in the channel. Critical rate, links in the channel. Stat has links in the channel. You know, like Flames, links in the channel. Boost nodes under !V matrix, links in the channel. And then Arcane Power is just know the dailies, right? So all of these also have like individual information that you can use to give you a boost of extra knowledge to each of these topics separately as well. So use this as your starting point, and then try to populate that with enough understanding of like how do you need, what you need to fill that in with, right? So use the commands in the channel, use the information, and if you have any questions after looking at something is still not clear, you can ask someone in chat, ask me. I'm streaming every day live over on Twitch, so you can always check over there. As always, these sessions are paid sessions that I do, either for people who are subscribed in the channel who watch the stream and can buy it with channel points, or people who just do a direct donation for these sessions, because I do take my time and I do take this seriously to try to help people get forward in the game and hopefully save a lot of time and some heartache along the way, and keeping the game fun as well. That's also mainly important. So if you want to win one of these, make sure you leave a comment in the YouTube, in the chat on the YouTube video that you would like to win. I draw 2 winners at the end of every month, and we are coming up in the second half of October. Only 1 week and a little bit to go. So we'll be drawing our winners pretty soon. And if you don't want to, if you want to cut the line, you want to immediately schedule one of these sessions, you can check the description of the video for links on how to do that. And there's also going to be links there on how to give me data that helps me populate all of the other commands that I have and things like these, because this is not just 100% like what I think. This is also based on the findings of everyone else who's playing the game, trying to condense that all into the resources that I own. So the more input I get, the more accurate I can make these things. So if you want to give me resources and input, link for that is also in the description. Or if you want to join my guild, I'm on NA Reboot in GMS, then you can also find the link for that in the description. Other than that, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.